Hello chess family, it's me, National Master Jesse James, and today we're going over a very fun game I got to play against the Pirc, one of my favorite ways to play the Austrian attack. As you can see in this game, I got very good attacking chances and got to win with the checkmate, at least a forced checkmate if they didn't resign. So, let's go ahead and get to it. In this game, I'm playing the white side, so I started with e4, my opponent starts with d6, here we go, we're playing against the Pirc. What's better than one pawn in the center? That's two pawns, so d4 gets played. Black played pawn g6 in the typical Pirc fashion. Black is going to go ahead and fiend kettle and then castle kingside. Sounds good to me. You know what's a good move here? Knight to c3. Black will typically play knight f6 to attack the e4 pawn, so knight c3 is one of the most commonly played moves in this position. Here, black plays knight to f6, and you know what's better than two pawns in the center? That's pretty easy. It's three pawns, sorry. And, well, pawn f4 gets played, and now we get what is called the Austrian attack. And I love to play this because, well, it comes to trying to control this e5 square. Black and white are trying to get this move in. Black will typically play the knight to d7 and then play e5. And, well, this is something that black is able to control the center with. So my idea, well, I want to use my f-pawn to open up my rook file, but also play e5 myself as white and grab that extra space. All right, here we go. Black plays bishop g7, getting ready to castle. And here, let's just keep making good moves. Here, I get my idea in pawn to e5 right away. And what does this move do? Well, like I said, it's going to go ahead and control some more space. And here, what we're hoping for is for them to take. And sometimes when you wish upon a star, things do come true. They go ahead and take, and f takes on e5. What I get out of this is, well, I get my two pawns in the center, of course. But now I get this open f file. So when I castle, my rook is going to have a beautiful file, and well, I'm going to be going for that kingside attack very soon. Knight went to d5. Should we take? Of course not. Taking here only allows black to bring out their pieces, and whenever you have more space, like I do in the center, you need the pieces to patrol or control those squares. So it's not a good idea to trade, at least just yet. In fact, a lot of times I'll even stop this trade with the move I actually got to play in the game. But first things first, do not move the same piece twice in the opening. Let's continue with our development. Knight to f3. Here, black played knight c6, a very bad move. For anyone who's playing the Pirc, especially as the black side, one of the most annoying moves that you can do in these things is pawn to c5, and even c5 here is a very good move. What is c5 doing in this kind of situation? Well, the idea is very simple. If they ever take, you can see the e5 pawn gets weak here. And black is very happy here. After knight takes, I'll be forced to trade queens. King takes, pawn takes. You know, I do like winning pawns, but not all pawns are equal. And in this scenario, I definitely think black is doing okay in this kind of situation. The e5 pawn's weak, and obviously these three triple pawns over here are going to be very weak. So c5 is a very common move that will get played in these openings. So here, I'm very happy that my opponent went ahead and played knight c6. This means they're not going to be putting pressure on the d4 pawn, at least as soon as they want to. So let's go ahead and stop this idea altogether. Here I played knight to e4. The knight slowly heads over to the king side, but also stops any c5 pushes in the future, as the knight can just take. Black went ahead and castled. Pawn to c3. I'm so happy about this move. Look at this beautiful pawn chain right here. And they say the pawn chain points to where you should be attacking. Well, I guess there's no question here. I'm attacking kingside over here. Bishop g4 gets played. A weird looking move, but very common in the Pirc. A lot of times this bishop will get trapped behind, especially after pawn e6, and well, the bishop won't do anything. So the bishop will come out to g4 and most likely trade on f3 if given the opportunity. That's why I don't like to play h3 in these kind of situations unless I'm ready to take back with my rook or my queen. But at this point, my next piece I want to move is my bishop, so bishop jumps out to d3. Here, black plays pawn e6, definitely a bad move here. And why is this bad? Because you can see with this pawn move that the dark squares around the king are very weak. And once you start looking at my pieces, you see, hey, I've got very good control over these dark squares over here. All right, let's go ahead and keep going. Castles happens here. I got to get my king to safety. And here, black plays the knight back to e7. Maybe there's going to be ideas about c5 in the future, but here I think the main idea was for black to try and bring the knight to f5 over here. You can definitely sense that white has lots of kingside space here, so here they're going to try to go ahead and get some of that space back. But here, this is falling right into my midst. Here we go. It's bishop time. Where is the best place for the bishop to move to? Here, hopefully you spotted the weakest dark square in the position. That's going to be this f6 square right here. So the bishop comes out to g5, putting pressure on f6, and also putting the knight in a nice pin. And here, I did bait my opponent, and they fell for it. They went ahead and played h6, a move I'm very happy to see here. Because whenever you're weak on one side of the board, as black is over here, you should not push your pawns forward because this only creates weaknesses around the king. So h6 got played. I decided to play bishop h4 here. And here my opponent went for it, knight to e3. You can see here that the computer gives us a distinct bad move. This is bad. Why is this bad? Because although the knight did fork, winning the rook over here, because I'm going to move my queen, of course, what's happening is they're losing all their pieces on the king side. So simple chess for me. The queen went to d2. They take, I take, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces ready to attack, and maybe black you can say has 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. You can even say 5 if you like. Either way, this rook is not going to be contributing, and with this next move, well, it's just going to be losing up altogether. Here, black got a little too aggressive and played g5. All right, it is now white to move and get a +5 advantage. What do you play here for white to get to a winning position? All right, if you guys haven't already, go and give us that like and subscribe. Remember, liking this video is going to share this with more chess it's going to share this with more chess players. All right. Did you find out the move here? Here you get to play the amazing move of knight takes on g5. Notice how I took back with the f knight here. Now, this is done for a few different reasons. Taking on g5 with any piece really is going to give you a decent game, but taking back with the f knight I feel is the most precise move. And why is that? Well, when you take back with the f knight, you're stopping this bishop from making a trade, which means this bishop is a little bit loose right now. The other idea is you opened up the f file for the rook, and this was the least active piece as far as all these pieces altogether. This knight is definitely better placed. This bishop is already on a good diagonal. Queen's on a good diagonal. The knight is blocking the rook. It makes sense. This is the piece we're supposed to sacrifice with. If black doesn't take back, they're just going to be losing. So pawn takes over here. Bishop takes on g5. I like this move. It puts them into this nice little pin. And you can see the f6 square is just ours here. If you even think about this position for a little bit, you won't even notice, like at least if you're looking at it right now, is white even down a piece here? Yes, they are, but if you look at this without thinking too hard, you say, yeah, I doesn't really feel like white's down a piece. It feels like white is just winning here, and this is definitely the case. Here, black really doesn't have any good defenses here, so they lost pretty fast. They play queen to d7 to try and get out the pin, but now, simple chess, what do you play here? Knight to f6, check forking the king and the queen, and I mean, if they don't take, they're just going to be losing the queen, and so they went ahead and played bishop takes. And after bishop takes here, my opponent just went ahead and threw in the towel because, well, it's going to be forced mate here in many different variations. I'm not even sure what you would play here to stop the simple idea of queen to h6 with g7 checkmate or queen h8 checkmate. And yeah, that's pretty much what computers doing right now. They're playing queen d5 and queen c6 and sacrificing on g2 just so they can get a move in just before they get checkmated. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed this. This was the Austrian attack against the Pirc, and the idea here was to gain space on the king side. And well, if you ever get to this kind of position, just know you must sacrifice a piece whenever they push the pawn to g5, so you can open up this king and get a very nice attacking position. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed this. We'll see you in the next video.